What's going on, guys? I'm Chris and welcome back to another video. It's crazy that we're here, but we're already at part 4 of the Return to Hawkins series, and before we go into this deep dive discussion of Stranger Things Season 1, Episode 4, The Body, make sure to hit that like button, comment down below your favorite moment from this episode, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any future videos in the Return to Hawkins series. We had a lot of fun talking about this episode, so without further ado, let's take a trip to Hawkins. Welcome back to Hawkins, everybody. We are here talking about Stranger Things Season 1, Episode 4, The Body. Trevor, how you doing?
Doing great, man. Honestly, a damn good episode.
Damn
good episode.
Another solid episode in the books. Season 1, I love. I always have. And it just continues to prove why it has long legs and is one of the best seasons of all time. But before we get into anything, make sure to hit the like button and, subscribe with the notification bell. Comment down below your thoughts on this episode. And we can just go ahead and start with our overall thoughts, I guess.
Hopper, animal, full detective mode, bare knuckles, going after anyone he has. And I wouldn't say emotional, but kind of chaotic for how our characters are feeling. And they're believing in like this ghost that Will is still alive, from Joyce, then Mike, Lucas, and Dustin, and Elle. And the only thing that bothers me, man, is in Season 4, we find out that 11 is very, very powerful before Season 1. And she's like, not that powerful. So that's the one thing that kind of bothers me. But other than that, it's a great episode. I loved it.
When it comes to the episode, I dug it. I mean, like you said, Hopper is the GOAT of Season 1 to me. He really is. And we said at the end of last week's Return to Hawkins that we're going to have a lot of exciting things to talk about with him. That is definitely the case here because he is taking matters into his own hands. There's moments where he's literally beating people to get answers and find out where Will is. And he is now buying in just like everyone else. And that's what I love about this episode is everyone thought Joyce was crazy. And then slowly but surely, Jonathan, Nancy, all these other pieces of the puzzle are starting to connect. And we're starting to figure out something greater is going on here in Hawkins. And I dig it.
I dig the hell out of it, bro. And that's what I love. Because like you said, like everyone thinks Joyce is crazy. And like us as viewers, we're kind of even thinking that too. Like Joyce is kind of insane. But then Jonathan and Nancy, we get more Jancy moments. They see like the Demogorgon, Steve's being a little dick. But everyone, they start to hear Will's voice and Will's alive. And it's sad, man. It's sad. And then Joyce is like, that's a caring mom. And it's so freaking dope that everyone's on board with it. When like they looked at the body and there's stuffing in it. Come on, man.
Yeah, even from the opening, it's a very somber opening of the episode because we've got everyone at the Byers house and they're officially like breaking the news to Joyce. They're like, Will's gone, and she just refuses to believe it. And we get more backstory on Hopper where he's like, when I lost Sarah, I thought I saw her too. You just have to kind of snap out of it. It takes time. And Joyce like said in her way, she's like, no, I know Will is out there. And that's when Jonathan and Hopper, like she's full on crazy. But then later on in the episode, we find out, Nancy puts that picture together and she sees maybe there is some weird creature out here. She takes it to Jonathan. They kind of do a little math and they're like, was it the faceless man? Because my mom said she was seeing that as well. I get chills when he says that line. And we'll talk about Jonathan's character later on in a certain segment we do.
Overall, though, like that faceless man thing, that's kind of like Slender Man vibes. It's scary and I love the vibes.
It's definitely got the little horror vibes. Like Season 1 isn't the darkest thing I've ever seen.
No.
But they are planting seeds of like the full-on horror vibes that they're going to embrace in later seasons, even in Season 2. This is a really weird side note, but every time I see the like picture put together of the Demogorgon, I always was like, from far away in the lighting, it looks like Groot from the first Guardians of the Galaxy. Like if you look back at it, it's this tall, like slim figure. And I was like, is that supposed to be Groot? Before we ever saw like the full-on Demogorgon.
Yeah.
So that was cool. But there's more interesting like revelations made in the relationship triangle between Steve, Jonathan, and Nancy here. You kind of said this briefly earlier. I love Steve, but I can't defend him that much in this episode because he's kind of a wimp and he's kind of a very bad like boyfriend, if you will. He is more concerned about his parents finding out that he had beer and like cigarettes and all this stuff at a party than Barb. And he's very dismissive of Nancy. I understand why she wants to kind of get away from him in this episode. Yeah, it's just not a good look for Stancy.
No, a bad look for Stancy. And the more I think about it watching this season, I'm like, God, Stancy's kind of toxic, man.
A little bit.
The dynamic between the boys, Dustin, Lucas, and Mike. I will always love this and cherish this trio because we don't really get it. I feel like a lot after this season. But like when they all finally and they hear Will's voice and Mike's like a full-on believer that he's out there, dude, that's a great scene. And then one of my favorite scenes of the episode is when they're like, at the assembly and they're trying to go in like the control room because they know Will's alive. Like he 100% is. And then what's his teacher's name? Oh, I'm blanking.
Mr. Clark.
Mr. Clark comes up and he's like, how you guys doing? And he's like, oh, we're trying to go in here to cry. And Lucas like, yeah, we're so sad. That's just so funny to me every time I laugh so hard.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, who are you? And my cousin, Eleanor.
Second
Eleanor.
cousin.
Yeah.
From Sweden. Bad place. Yeah, just so funny. I love the way they vibe off each other, and just gives the group hope, man. And like they're gonna go and find Will, and it constantly keeps you guessing. Like you're watching this for the first time, you're constantly like, oh, what is going on? And who is doing this? Why do they keep showing this old weirdo? And like you get to find like in the house, Joyce is looking at it like I don't even know what you'd call it, but then we get the glimpses of the Upside Down. It's dark and it's scary, but like we don't know what's called the Upside Down yet.
No, yeah, we literally see Joyce like this close to Will. She is seeing him through like this weird upside down wall, and the visuals, it starts to fade, and she goes crazy and takes the axe to the wall. There's a ton of moments that give us more lore to the Upside Down. One in particular that was fascinating on rewatch for me. I wonder if you pick this up as well. There's a moment where we see Brenner sending someone through the gate.
Yes.
And watching it after season 4, if you're watching it in the context of season 1, obviously the Demogorgon might be out there, some creature. But in the context of season 4, he's looking for 01, right? Like he's looking for Vecna. Because, there's this flashback moment in season 4 where we see that scene, I want to say, from like, we have to find Henry or whatever. And like, that's the thing is like, he's looking for 01. So it's really crazy how like there's little moments like that can kind of be retconned by the Duffer Brothers. Because again, the first time we watched the show, we didn't know anything about Vecna, but it works on rewatch to me.
Yes, and I don't think the Duffer Brothers knew at this time about 01.
No way.
They had no idea where they're gonna go. And then in season 4, they're like, we're gonna throw some Easter eggs all the way back to season 1. So watching now, exactly, you're like, oh my gosh, what are they going in here for? You just think they're going to figure out what's up with this alien kind of species here, but very nice Easter egg you pointed out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And another one too was there's a moment where like 11 is with Brenner and she's like got the little headset on and she's like looking to try and find someone else in the room. And before it showed like the picture on the table, I was like, is she looking for 01? But then I was like, oh no, that's not the case. She's obviously just trying to find the other dude around the corner. But for a second I was like, did they not show this picture? And is she like looking for 01 for some reason? It was a weird thing I had. I don't know what my mind was on, but obviously that was not the case.
No, absolutely not. And then 11 standing up to those bullies for Mike, standing up for himself. I love that.
That's good awesome. Mike moment, a rare Mike win.
Mike. Exactly. I still can't really stand Mike. And I really like Nancy and Karen's like interaction. Karen's mad that her and Nancy, but like Karen's mad for the wrong reasons. Like your kid's best friend is gone and missing, and your son's best friend is possibly dead. So like, why are you being such a mean mom right now? You should be like more like considerate, I feel. But that little scene they had with them, just great acting. I loved it. This is the Nancy. I love season 1 Nancy.
Season 1 Nancy's great. She has multiple moments here where I really feel for her. Steve's not being supportive. No one's really believing her in the situation. Like the scene where she sits down with the 2 bozo cops, who, by the way, have like, they're some of the worst characters to me. Like I despise them. They're just like, wait, so what did you do? Was this before or after you got dressed? Like they're just like, they're being rude, honestly. They know what they're doing. And I just don't like the way they treat her. I think that we do get a good mother-daughter moment there for sure. Like you said, the mother-daughter relationship between them is stronger than the mother-son relationship between Mike and Karen. I feel like that's never been as strong. But definitely Nancy is the strongest in season 1. And of all people, she seems to be confiding in Jonathan, which is weird because he was like stalking her a few episodes ago. But I feel like everyone kind of just brushes that aside. I think he actually apologizes. I don't remember.
He does in this episode. Okay, he does. He says like, I'm sorry. Like I shouldn't have taken a photo. And like Nancy, like obviously it helps out, and But you gotta think too that you can like, it's not an excuse. Obviously he's creeping, but like Jonathan's going through a lot of distress too, and he's always been in love with Nancy. They always kind of have like the look back and forth. So I like Jonathan a lot in season 1. I really, really do.
He is better early on, I would say. Like, and that's the case with both of them. I feel like these 2 characters very sidelined as we move further on into the show.
Yeah.
A character who's not sidelined at all and is the best in season 1, arguably, is Hopper, because there's a moment here where he just, I freaking love the way they wrote it and the way it's acted. He pulls up to a bar and he's just having a cigarette and he's talking about like how he's celebrating the daughter win at the spelling bee. And he's slowly like unfolding more, and then he's like basically like, let's cut this shit. I know that it's not like a state run. I know who runs this, like the place where they found Will or whatever. And he takes him outside. This dude, and he's just pounding on him. He's beating his ass with his big ass hands, just breaking the dude's nose pretty much. And then we see like the car pull up, the black car in the distance. Like everything just works so well in that scene. I love seeing Hopper pull that revolver out. And then obviously he goes to the facility, and like the way he breaks in, like he reminds me of Indiana Jones, like his mannerisms.
Right?
He'll have like those Harrison Ford lines of dialogue when he walks up to the cop to try and get into that back room where Will is. He's like, oh, I need to meet like someone, like I forget the name he says, and he's like, oh crap, is that not him? And then he just punches him.
Exactly. He's like Baratin, he called, he needed you or whatever. Barton needed you.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't work for Barton. No. And then jabs him and then decks him. You're like, that's the best. And
do you feel queasy when he goes in and like he sees Will? Makes me sick to my stomach.
Hard to watch, I'm not gonna lie to you, because it looks so real and everything. And then when the first time I watched this episode, I remember like when he's cutting into him, you're kind of like, it just looks real and nasty. And
the sound too, the sound effects. Ooh,
that's what gets me, bro. Like all these ASMR people, they might like it. That shit gets me grossed out, bro. And when he started pulling his stuffing out, you just realize like, okay, something shady is going on in Hawkins. And that's what I love about Hopper so much. Like, he's full detective right now. Like full detective, taking this matter seriously. This is his town, and some bad is going on in his town. And I love Hopper for it so much. And he's great in every season, but like just right now, like he's so good. So much depth. I'm so great. And great acting. Like David Harbour when he's yelling at him, like,
oh my gosh.
God, it's so good. Like when he's punching dude in the face, like I don't forget what he yells, but it's fantastic.
No, he could flip the switch so well. Like that bar scene is one of his better acted scenes in the entire show, I would say, like especially in season 1. But there's a moment before he cuts into Will earlier in the episode where Jonathan and Joyce have to go see the body, and like Joyce's refusal to believe, like there's a birthmark on his left arm, like all these things. Like she is very persistent in her viewpoint, and then Jonathan gets kind of queasy and runs off, which I mean I would too. That's foul. But I have to give props to Hopper for like sticking by Joyce and not just dismissing her as like a lunatic.
Yeah, that's what I like about him. Like he's listening to her at least. He's like, like I get it, and he relates with the Sarah line. Like I thought I saw her too, and it hits really hard. And just he can relate to her because he's lost a kid too, and he's like, hey, I've been in your boat before. But Joyce is like, just believe, like I don't know what that thing is, but that is not my son. And then Jonathan, Hopper doesn't go, whatever, crazy Joyce. He's kind of like, okay, and then he dives into it for her. The show's early on. The Jopper, the romance is there, baby. He's gonna do anything for her. Yeah.
And you know what scumbag shows up again in this episode? Our boy, not really, Lonnie at the very end, coming back to make sure Joyce is all right, acting like he cares. In reality, he's just he's one of the biggest scumbags in the entire show.
He's a bum. Let's be real. Let's call him what he is. He's a bum.
Certified bum.
Yeah. I always wish, I don't remember if it happens or not, but I wish Hopper would like beat Lonnie's ass.
No, that's totally understandable. I forget, and I know I should remember because I just watched the episode. Does Hopper get knocked out in this one, or does that happen next episode? You know what I'm talking about?
No, the episode ends with Hopper and his wire cutters cutting into the fence.
That's right.
And then it ends. So I believe he gets caught soon.
Mm-hmm. And I think the cold open to the next episode, which we'll talk about next week, obviously, is him like breaking in, and then he ends up getting knocked out. And then he wakes up in his house and it's a bug, which we'll get into that all next week.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just gonna throw this out here as a complete side note. If they ever want to remake Indiana Jones, I'm down for David Harbour to be Indy.
I'm not opposed.
Like I'm so down for that. But that's topic for another time.
Dude, that would be so sick. I would love that.
Like he can wear the hat too, you know? He's suave, he's handsome. Now he's built like a brick shit house. Come on.
Absolutely. What? And his mannerisms, man. I feel like he's been doing Indy for 4 seasons already.
He's charming, he's cocky, and not cocky, but more charming and like a suave.
No, yeah. As far as a few other points in the episode, I know there's the fire in the school, like the little radio they're using like catches on fire. Other than that, we get the scene where 11 makes the bully pee his pants, which is very satisfying because Troy's a punk kid. Both of them are just total assholes, so it's good to see them get what they deserve.
Yep, and they get a little more here in episode or 2, which I
can't wait to talk about that episode.
God, that's great. But yeah, when he comes walking in, 11 sitting there, just stops him with her like her stare. You're like, oh snap, and then just the pee running on a puddle, a puddle.
Yeah, the sound in this episode, like the little things like that, they really make the episode stand out.
Yeah. I wonder, like, it's gonna sound weird. Like, did he actually pee his pants? Because it looks so real.
Really what if they just told him, "Hey, pee your pants. We'll give you a little bonus on the side. We'll give you an extra $200 for the day. Just piss yourself." They probably put like a tube down his shirt and everything or something like that. But
that's funny. That's funny shit.
Yeah. As far as like a segment we would do every single week on this episode is talk about our favorite performance, favorite moment / quote, and like favorite character. My favorite performance, I'm just going to do that one first, is actually going to be Charlie Heaton as Jonathan. I think that there's a lot of moments where he just like Joyce is great. We've consistently talked about her, but Charlie Heaton, there's one in particular where he confronts Joyce like in the middle of like downtown Hawkins, and he's like, "I'll be getting the funeral ready," and like he's basically calling her crazy, and like just the way he was able to convey that emotion, it was really well done. He has the scene where he kind of apologizes to Nancy, and all around, I just think that he gives probably my favorite performance that he gives out of any episode. I'd say in the entire show, I think this is Jonathan's best episode.
He's very good in the early seasons of making like his voice crack.
Yes.
You know, when he talks, he's like, I don't know how to do it or whatever.
No, I know exactly what you're saying.
It sounds distraught and it sounds stressed out. And he's very good at that. Like how he says mom and everything like that. Like, you're not listening to me. Like you're abandoning me. You can't shut out like you do and everything like that. So that's a great pick. Dude. I'm going David Harbour for my performance though.
Hell yeah.
Like just from the bar scene and to taking matters in his own hand and beating the hell out of that dude, and how he just his subtle yell, which sounds like, oh God, but like, I love that he's taking matters in his own hands, and the emotion we got from this episode, from talking about Sarah, you can just tell by his face. That's what makes a good actor, in my opinion, their facial expressions. When I was like, the guy at the bar is like, your daughter have a name? Like your daughter, he's like, what? Like your daughter, what's your name? Like Sarah. Like you can see on his face that like, frick frack, that hurts a lot. Oh, man. And my favorite performance by far.
I mean, my favorite character in the episode is Hopper for sure. Like he is, same. I mean, again, we've talked about him going full badass detective mode. Not much else to add there. I mean, he's just the best character in the show right now by far. This is a very adult and older kids centric episode. The kids are barely really even in this one. They have like 5. They have that tiny plot with 11 in the radio.
Favorite moment, I'm gonna go I'm not gonna go on Hopper and everything. So I'm gonna go 11 making Troy piss himself. I think that's a great moment. Makes me laugh every time.
Hard to beat. That one's probably my favorite as well. Another one would probably just be watching Hopper. That whole bar scene unfold. Man, I can't get enough of it. I can't get enough of it. It's so well done. Just like the score even being kind of subtle in the background there. But yeah, that's pretty much all we have to say about Stranger Things season 1, episode 4, The Body. Another really solid stepping stone as we get closer to the finale. I mean, season 1 is just classic Stranger Things, man. It's just classic. One of my favorite TV seasons of all time, easily.
100%. And it's crazy that there's like 2 more seasons I prefer over this one. And like the way that like generally when you have like a big episode, like episode 3, you know, the next episode is generally pretty trash for most shows. Like it's like, hey, big step back. No, we take 3 steps forward. We continue off that, and that's what I constantly love about Stranger Things. I don't remember the next couple episodes. It's nice going to rewatch. Like I forgot lots of that happened.
There's like those small scenes where I just didn't remember which episode they land in. Like I'm excited. 5, 6. I know we got some good stuff with Jonathan and Nancy coming up. I know we got a lot more good Hopper stuff. 11 and Brenner getting more explored. So there's a lot to look forward to.
Even Jonathan got a fight yet, man. We got lots.
There's a lot, dude. A lot of juicy stuff to talk about. What do you guys think of this episode? Again, let us know in the comments down below. Make sure to check out Trevor's channel, Film Geek. Subscribe to him. Follow him on all of his social medias. Those will be linked down below as well. Comment your favorite moment from this episode and all that jazz down below. Again, we have a playlist on my channel of all of these. So if you want to go back and watch episode 1, 2, and 3, check those out. Stay tuned for next week as we take a look at season 1, episode 5. And until next time, we'll see you guys on the other side of the upside down.